during an exclusive interview with RBA here in Kigali on the margins of the just concluded AU-EU joint ministerial meeting. Minister Naledi Pandor said that she is set to visit Rwanda in the near coming future to meet her Rwandan counterparts as the two countries continue to forge new relations, during which concrete steps shall be taken to end visa restrictions for Rwanda ordinary passport holders who wish to travel to South Africa. She also noted that the European Union has a role to play in the realization of the African Union Agenda 2063.
How do you want them to relate?
Well, the European Union is a very powerful region of the world with immense capability for investing in Africa and for supporting Africa's development. As Africa, we've got a strategy, Agenda 2063, which describes the Africa we want to develop and build. We would anticipate that our relationship with the EU must contribute to that agenda. And I think that this mustn't be an aspiration on our part, but it must be the concrete expression that we bring into any deliberations with the European Union. So while I welcome the discussions we're having today, I'm just concerned that I'm not really getting a full sense of the impact assessment and what the actual initiatives are that we should be reviewing and evaluating. So I am pleased that out of this meeting, we have agreed, and Minister Biruta was very important in that regard, that we should have a stronger monitoring and evaluation function as part of this partnership. Because otherwise, we're going to be conferencing and just having very nice discussions. But our continent, which is sorely in need of change, will not be changing. And I don't think that is acceptable.
Some of the topics you're discussing as AU, European Union Council Ministers, include security, COVID-19, of course, but it also includes migration and mobility frameworks. And I just want to know, from the African perspective, from the South African perspective, how do you want the EU to treat Africans?
Well, firstly, we must solve our own problems as Africa. That's very important. And conflict is a huge barrier to development. So we've got to stop conflicts because they're not assisting us at all. And we have to help communities through the AU to find each other. We must accept political difference. We should embrace democracy and democratic practices. We should build open societies and so on. But what surprised me in our discussions on security, we didn't talk about external forces and how they're interfering in Africa because they're exploiting our natural resources. There are many countries whose conflicts are being exported into Africa, and they use Africa as the theater of their conflicts. And I think this must be brought to an end. So you will find a country from Europe is involved in a very minor conflict somewhere, but it's because there's oil there, and I think in the discussion, while certainly we must discuss security and how we end conflicts, we must not neglect the external factor and those players in the world community who destabilize Africa for their own interests. To understand a problem, you must analyze it fully. Otherwise, you're doing a half job, and therefore you don't get to the correct solution. So we want support for our peace architecture, but we also want those who partner with us to partner in a genuine fashion, not because they wish to exploit us or want us to support their point of view against another country's point of view.
One of the current ongoing issues is COVID-19 crisis. At the beginning, the world was in it as a unit, but at some point when COVID-19 vaccines were coming out, we saw division. We saw, the holding of vaccines and all that. When you meet European leaders like you're meeting right now, What do you tell them for the sake of an African who has not received COVID-19 vaccine?
Well, I repeat to them the common message that you are not safe until all of us are safe. And so it's in your interest to ensure that Africa gets vaccines. If we don't get enough doses, this virus is just going to mutate. It'll become a more dangerous variant, and you will remain ill whether you're vaccinated or not. So it's in their interest to ensure they end inequity of access to vaccines. There's been real inequity. Yeah. And in fact, they should stop talk of a third dose until all the Africans who should have a dose have one.
Rwanda-South Africa relations. We've had what we've had. We've had, your country recalling some ambassador, and then we are appointing another one. And then we are at a point where we see negotiations coming up, dialogue coming up, making it easy for Rwandans to travel to South Africa. What is the latest?
Well, I've had excellent interactions with Minister Biruta. He visited South Africa and we had very good exchanges. I'm due to visit Kigali myself. We are busy discussing dates with him. We set up a technical task team between the two countries to look at the issue of visas and how we end the standoff that there had been with respect to the visa for non-official passport holders. I believe that they have a report which they are going to table before the two of us, and I hope that that report will lead to progress.
Dr. Naledi Pandor, the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of South Africa, thanks for your time.
Thank you.